Hi, my name is James Loughran. You're very welcome. We're going to do a brief tour of our grain drying facility and harvest intake. I'm going to show you guys what we do after Clodagh has finished doing our quality tests, and we'll check out what we do and give a brief explanation of it. So after the grain has been tested at intake and approved for quality specifications, it comes out and in glorious summer weather like this, we will tip it off in the yard in its appropriate pile. So we have a couple of different piles on the go depending on variety, depending on protein content, depending on moisture content, and we'll keep our barley segregated along those lines, and that allows us to tailor that barley best to the needs of our customers and make sure that the right quality barley ends up in the right brewer or distiller's hands. This pile here beside me is a variety called Splendor, and this is our brewing pile. So this malted barley will go for brewing, and that's based on its protein content as well as features such as germination, mycotoxin content, screening content, and all those other parameters that Clodagh tests for in the lab. The pile to my right is your left, you're looking at. That's our distilling pile. So it's also, in this particular case, it's also a variety called Splendor. But the protein content on this is quite a lot lower than the protein content on our brewing pile. The reason for that is that our distilling customers appreciate a lower distilling content. It gives them a better extract in their distillery and gives them more litres of alcohol out of the product. So after intake, one of the first things we need to do is dry the barley. So we have to get our barley down below 14% moisture, and that allows us to store it over a long period of time without damaging the germination, and it means that it can still be malted. So to do that, we use a grain dryer. This is this piece of equipment behind me. We start by loading the grain dryer into this grain intake. We use our loading shovels to stick on all those, but all the people use different. It's a piece of kit. So this is, we load our dryer. So using a Volvo L90H loading shovel, and Declan, the driver, will take the barley from this pile here, pick it up and feed it into the grain dryer. Hi Declan. And we load this in, and then a network of conveyors and elevators will transport the barley up through to the dryer. We'll go take a look at that now, show you how it works. So in here is our grain drying facility, and how the plant works is that the barley that we saw earlier comes through this system of conveyor, gets transported upwards. These will be burned, these will create hot air, and then we blow that hot air across is dust, which we definitely don't want. Really, really small grains, which are fine for animals, but just not suitable for malting because they're slightly too small. Coming at the very end. So once the barley's been dried, strained, and all the nasty taken out of it, led through with the network of conveyors. This one, probably load stuff, and we put it away in the store for long-term storage. Once we put it into storage, we're working on lowering temperature, and then it's just monitoring and maturation over the winter period. Monitoring running the dryer is done from the control panel, and that runs off a set of predetermined parameters based on temperature and moisture content. And really that's what this harvest for us is really about: moisture, temperature and protein. Those are the things that we're constantly working with, monitoring and watching to preserve germination, preserve quality, and make sure that the barley that goes to malt and gets used in breweries and distilleries around the world is as good as we can possibly make. So control panel is relatively straightforward, and basically we're running off a couple of predetermined parameters, such as our burner temperature, so our hot air temperature, the grain going on, of the air going on to the grain. Our ex-air temperature is the temperature of the grain coming off, temperature of the air coming off the grain. We have our discharge speed, so that's the rate at which barley drops down through it. And then they're the main things that we use to juggle moisture content of the grain as it comes out. Because really what we want to do is make sure we don't expose the barley to too much heat. We could dry this a lot faster, and we could probably double the speed of the throughput, but doing so would kill the germination of the barley. It wouldn't be suitable for malting then, and obviously that wouldn't be good. And then the other step we do is monitoring. So you can see Terry right behind you. Terry's carrying out regular moisture checks, making sure that the barley that comes off is within tolerances, and then just generally recording what we're doing as the day goes on to make sure that we have that traceability all the way back, so everybody knows that quality parameters were hit all the way through the drying season. Over the winter time then, these warehouses store the barley, store the grain, allow it to mature over the winter time. We keep it well ventilated, so we carry out kind of this time of year daily temperature checks, but later on it'll receive weekly temperature checks, and we'll make sure that the temperature of that barley stays within spec. We'll ventilate it on a regular basis to give it a fresh air and plenty of oxygen. And that's part of the process of just making sure that when the barley goes to the malt house, it germinates well, it germinates evenly, and then we get excellent conversion back through to malt in that malt house. That's pretty much it, guys. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch. We love showing people what we do, especially this time of year, harvest, when there's a lot going on, there's plenty of activity, and hopefully we'll be able to have another cool, interesting video for you guys sometime soon. Thanks very much.